played well. I would even imagine they were like, hey, change the script a little bit when you do the translations, make it a little more funny. We learned this or that from it.
But you haven't seen it unless you've seen it.
Fucking yeah, you haven't seen it. If you haven't seen it in its native Polish, you haven't really truly seen the movie and enjoyed it.
Or it's like a bad translation. Yeah.
If you haven't seen Mr. T in his native
The
Polish,
English
you really
dub
missing
is
out.
amazing. What can I say?
Fuck. That's so good. Welcome to Season 4 of Talking Pondo. Talking Pondo is a podcast where Clif and Marty give each other a film to watch and talk about them in detail. Some episodes will include a special guest.
Rondo, Montana starts a cab company will not be seen this week, so we may shock the monkey.
Don't you know you're going to shock the monkey? Is there a... Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, we're back. It's another episode of Talking Pondo. I'm Marty.
That's right. I'm Clif.
And we're back with another guest episode this week.
Super excited. Super excited.
You've read today's guest reviews on Film Threat. It's Bobby LePire.
Hi, how are you guys?
Hey,
well.
Thanks so much for coming on our tiny little podcast. We appreciate you.
Our gigantic
Thanks for having me.
podcast, Cliff. It's huge.
Massive, huge, huge.
It's like the Yeti. It's gigantic. But what movies are we watching today, Cliff? Or did watch? We're going to talk about, I should say.
So we're going to talk about, this is an interesting mix. So we've been trying to give DC Cab out to somebody for a while, and Bobby took the bait on that one. So we got him, fished in. And then he gave us the Primevals, which I have a few notes on. I have a few notes on that movie. I have some things to say.
It was a movie I realized that I knew what it was about halfway through. I'm like, is this the movie that... And, well, you know, we'll get into it, but it turned out I was right. It was that movie. But So we do have a little bit of listener mail.
Sweet.
The first one was on our episode with Robert Kurtzman and Marcy King from a few weeks back, where we got to talk to them about, you know, the recent work on Scary Movie 6 and the independent movie Marshmallow. And
the other movie, Fuck My Son, that they...
Oh, yeah, that's right. Playing
love to
only
talk
in
about.
theaters. Apparently that one will never be on video because of its title, I guess. But,
I would imagine so.
Dylan J. Schlender, of all people, writes in and says, fantastic conversation, very enjoyable. So,
Schlenzo.
He did
Schlenzo.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, that's a great episode. Bob and Marcy are a really great people, and they had a lot of good stuff to say. A lot of fun stories. Oh, you could listen to those two for hours because they'll just keep telling you great stories.
I know it's not our typical format where we sit around and listen to or talk about two movies, which is what most of the listeners seem to enjoy. But by all means, if you haven't heard that one, go back and listen to it, because I think you'll find that it does feel like one of our regular episodes. We just don't have two particular movies to talk about, but we talk about a variety of different films on that one. We have another piece of mail for that one too, from somebody named Eerie Fishy. You got to love some of these names that people make up online here. Watch you be like, that's my real name. I just finished that episode and really enjoyed it. So other people liked it as well.
Sweet. Good. I really hope they enjoy that episode. It was, again, a really a big thrill to have them on. So.
And let's see here. So usually we like to let the guests pick the first movie we talk about today.
That's right. Bobby, what do you want to talk about first?
I think we're going to do DC Cab first because it was released first.
I like it. All right, let's do it. DC Cab. Oh boy, here we go. I saw this in the theater, by the way.
Wow.
When I was 10, I saw this in theater. I told my mom I was going to see something else, and I snuck into the theater to see this.
Well, that makes more sense than somebody took you to it.
No, nobody took me. No. A lot of the rated R movies I saw back then, I just basically went to. Like, you know, it was one of those where it was just like, I'm just going to the movie. But anyways, okay, DC Cab. Should I read the description here?
Yeah, what is this movie that makes 1941 seem almost comprehensible? What is DC Cab?
That's the truth. DC Cab, 1983, rated R, 1 hour, 40 minutes. All right, here's your logline. The misadventures of a group of unfortunate but streetwise cabbies working for a Washington, D.C. decrepit taxi cab company. This is directed by the world-famous Joel Schumacher, written by Topper Carew and Joel Schumacher, starring Max Gale, Adam Baldwin of Firefly fame, and Mr. T. Let's see your storyline here. The tale of a hapless group of cabbies and a rundown cab company owned by Harold. Albert comes to town with a dream of starting his own cab company, but needs to motivate Harold's employees to want to make something out of themselves. It is only when Albert is kidnapped that the cabbies must decide whether or not they are loyal to Albert and his cause.
What?
Yeah, it's basically it's basically like the easiest skeleton that you can throw bits onto,
right?
Like it's just bit after bit. And I'll say this: if you want to know why people think that Gary Busey's crazy, then you should watch this movie, because this is crazy. This is I'm willing to bet this is kind of what Gary Busey's like on a day-to-day basis, right? Like, you know, what's the worst thing about oral sex? The View. And you're like, that's Gary Busey all day long right there.
You know, I blame It's a Mad World for eventually trickling down to things like this. Oh, gee, where to even begin? I mean,
we could start with smacking Joel Schumacher across the face.
This is his first movie. And he was a costume designer before he was a film director. So that kind of makes sense a little bit because of how showy this movie is. But I look at it as that forgettable first album back when they'd give you a few albums to figure out your craft, to figure out what you were doing. And he did figure it out. He started making really solid movies as he went on. But here is oh my, people like to talk about cocaine as a hell of a drug and what it does, and it makes people crazy. But this is maybe one of the best examples of what it truly does. And what is that? Well, it makes you just want to get from point A to point B without really caring much about what you're doing in the interim. Well, did we get that shot? Good. Okay. Was it funny? It don't matter. Just go on. Okay.
I don't know. Let's go. Let's keep going. We've got a lot to do today. To do today.
You go over here. You do the thing. Blah, 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 blah. And so that's what you end up with.
Why isn't Mr. T on top of the cab holding the baseball bats? Yeah. He should be on top of the cab holding the baseball bats. Why isn't he doing that? Let's get him on top of the cab holding the baseball bats.
And so you're left with this thing that feels almost like an assembly cut. Like, is there a finished version of this movie somewhere with like some better coverage? Or it is a bizarre anomaly, though.
It tries so hard to be Animal House wacky, right? Like it tries to, like, you know, I've got a flamethrower and that's how I light my fireplace. Ha ha ha. You know, it tries so hard to be wacky, but it's, Bobby, what do you think?
It's Kentucky Fried Movie with more of a plot.
Yes.
Not that it's as funny as that is, but that's what it's trying to be.
Yeah.
There are things I really, really like about this movie, and I do think Joel Schumacher overall is a bit underrated because when he makes bad films, they're truly terrible. But he's made so many good movies, and I think people forget that.
Very true.
This film feels like it's 5 different kinds of comedies rolled into one, and it can't figure out which one it actually wants to be. Is it the weird underdog tale of this DC cab company being put upon by the government employee guy in charge of closing cab companies? I'm not even sure what that guy's role actually is. Is it this tale of a guy reconnecting with his father's friends that helped raise him after the father's passing? Is it a romance? Is it a political thriller? Like, what is
it? A sex comedy? What is this?
The last 20 minutes or however long that everything involving the kidnapping,
it becomes so frantic,
is so misguided. It's also some of the most interesting things going on in the film because it's fascinating that they thought they should take it in this direction. And I think that's the best way to describe the movie. DC Cab is Always interesting. I don't know that it's ever good though.
So internationally, this film was a major hit.
Really?
This was the highest grossing comedy of all time in Poland. And this won best comedic picture in Turkey. So I don't know what the fuck Joel did, but he hit on some themes and some visuals that obviously played well. I would even imagine they were like, hey, change the script a little bit when you do the translations, make it a little more funny. We learned this or that from it. But
you haven't seen it unless you've seen it.
Fucking hit. Yeah, you haven't seen it. If you haven't seen it in its native Polish, you haven't really truly seen the movie and enjoyed it.
Or it's like a bad translation. Yeah.
If you haven't seen Mr. T in his native
The
Polish,
English
you really
dub is amazing. What can I say?
Fuck. It's so good. So 1983, and Myrna's talking about her entitlement, what she's entitled to. All right, this is 1983. I don't remember anybody when I was 10 years old talking about what they were fucking entitled to, yet here she is talking about her entitlements. I thought it was hilarious. Now, even back then, that stuff is starting to sneak in, all the entitlements, which of course is sort of, railroaded and taken somewhere else later, but I thought that was hilarious. The movie's super confusing. Myrna, so here's this violin that's worth $500,000. We run around like crazy people trying to find the violin, right? Then we find the violin, but the guy can't remember whose cab he found it in. So we end up getting the money, and the money goes to the wife, who then locks everybody out of the house and threatens everybody with a flamethrower so she can keep the money. And then yet Adam Baldwin's got $6,000, and that's how they end up painting all the cabs and getting all the T-shirts and the signs, and it doesn't make any sense to me. It's like, if even $6,000 is not going to rehabilitate a fucking cab company. Like, what are we doing here?
Are you looking for logic? Because that doesn't exist here.
Yeah, I'm always looking for a little internal logic. Yeah.
No, wrong movie for that.
Yeah, we're back in that time period of what I call the Jackie Martling era of humor, where between 78 and 82, the time period where Jerry Lewis was making things like Hardly Working, and it's like, see, it's funny, it's a joke, why aren't you laughing? And so this feels like more coke-fueled humor made for my grandparents, I think. It was some of that last vestige of it. That's why I say I blame the It's a Mad, Mad, Mad World, because then we end up with, Cannonball Run, which this is still kind of aping a little bit of that kind of goofiness. Car Wash, which does it right about
Car Wash is a good
prior, and not to mention the TV show Taxi. But there's a whole series of movies that really don't make any sense from this time period that it reminded me of. Going Berserk with John Candy. That one doesn't make a lick of sense. Jekyll and Hyde Together Again, more coke-fueled nonsense. Young Doctors in Love, another perfect example. The Fridays TV show. And to a lesser degree, much later on, we get things like Pineapple Express that suddenly turn into a weird caper towards the end, like this one does.
I would throw in stuff like On the Right Track and maybe Silver Streak. As
you remember
being
a movie
very
called Gas?
Sure.
Oh, that was another one.
Is that one with like 5 S's in it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
And so I'm just left with this
Hamburger
movie
the Motion Picture is an excellent example too. Like that's
this one. It's so unique.
And why do I want dinner right now?
You've never seen Hamburger the Motion Picture?
I've never heard of Hamburger the Motion Picture. What?
It's about this dude who goes to a hamburger college. Apparently, it's a McDonald's. There's a college, so you can learn to manage and run a franchise. And so he goes to Hamburger University, and it's basically like, I don't know, like Revenge of the Nerds or one of those things. It's like a college with all the pranks and the fraternity stuff while you're learning, like Police Academy and that type of thing. And then, like at one point they actually run like a real store and they're fucking it up real bad, and bikers come in and they refuse the service and the place gets trashed. It's insane. And Dick Butkus is in it, for fuck's sake. He's the leader of the college who's trying to he's trying to, oust a couple of the guys because they're just, too cocky to run a franchise. It's fucking insane.
Wow.
You haven't seen Hamburger, the motion picture? But
And yet I'm sure it makes more sense than this movie. This movie,
it makes about as much sense. It really does. They make about as much sense. They're just internal logic is so thin on them that they're just barely tied. They're barely tied together.
There's no center to DC Cab. It's kind of incoherent and inaccessible, I think is the word. Where I'm left going, was that funny? Was that plot? I don't know. I can't grasp on, and the movie's not giving me any entry point. It just keeps on moving. And
it should be slightly fair to DC Cab. At least it's not slapstick of another kind, which is the bottom barrel of comedy. This at least has moments that are funny. Some of the actors do work here. Adam Baldwin, not the best acting job, but he's charming and easy to root for as
he's fine.
A sensible lead. Mr. T is always just an interesting presence.
I wonder.
Slapstick of another kind is abhorrent in every way.
Yeah. Do you think that Mr. T made him write in all the shit about get the kids away from the drugs? And,
absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. Where he's like, that's, you got to put that in if I'm going to be in the thing, Definitely.
Yeah.
A good companion piece.
Which does just raise the question why the Mr. T characters with DC Cab,
yes,
who were just situated to be these lowlights the entire movie. It doesn't make sense that that's who he would work for, as opposed to the Lime Cab or whatever the other company is called.
Emerald City Cab.
That's it. Yes.
Yeah, Emerald Cabs who have their shit together, pay their bills, get to go to the airport and give taxi rides, all the good stuff,
It raises some very interesting questions. But within each plot, if you will, of DC Cab, there's always something to grasp onto. The movie never follows up on it, which is its biggest, and nothing ever connects to. This is not a movie of one scene is the consequence of the scene before it. This is a movie of, and then something happens and we move on. But there's always something interesting going on. And therefore I can't say I hate watching DC Cab. It's a fascinating thing. When Max gets to Harold and he that introduction of Harold's like, you're this guy, and like pointing at it like, I knew you when you were like, knee high to a grasshopper, and Adam Baldwin does this fun thing with now I'm this tall.
Yeah. He's like, no, I'm here now.
Funny, and like it establishes their bond that they already had pretty well, which leads to some other scenes with at Harold's house, the flamethrower thing, which goes on way too long. I'd be okay with it if it was the one time. But they do it like 5 times in the one scene. What is happening?
Look, we got the flamethrower. We're going to fucking use it. All right. I don't care. It's production value. Get the flamethrower.
Well, it just seems like the odd shot selection and the weird framing almost like in later movies, you figure out how to do the beats right. So you know where the funny is. This one is just kind of like, sometimes there's just a long shot for 5 minutes where everybody's just going and then.
He's definitely
like when they're all jumping out the windows from that diner they always go to after he's coming with the violin. I have no clue what's happening in that scene.
Right.
Like, I don't know where anybody is or where they're going.
I don't think they knew.
It's baffling.
So you've got Bill Maher in this movie, and you've got Paul Rodriguez.
The Nexus.
So you've got two really good comedians that really don't even really get to do much. But
they're not. Bill Maher specifically, not an actor. Comedian, yes.
No,
but
yes.
He's never been an actor.
Right.
To be fair to him, he's better in this movie, DC Cab, than Cannibal Women in the Avocado Jungle of Doom, in which he's truly terrible. It's one of the worst performances you'll ever see in a comedy. He's so miscast in that role. But then he would go on and do things like, oh my God, the documentary he did about religion.
Religious?
Yes, I couldn't remember what it was called. I love that movie. So it's not that he's not talented. It's just that this.
No, and I mean he's a funny guy, and comedians have good comedic timing, right? And so it's a shame that he's not, he and Paul weren't given a little more than just kind of zany sort of bits to do. You know what I mean? There's a moment where there's a moment where he's kind of playing the piano and he's kind of bitching about being a good artist, but nobody gives a shit. And I thought that was kind of nice, and maybe throw some comedy in there, right? But I don't know. I think I agree with Marty. It feels like Schumacher's really trying to figure it out, right? Like he's gotten his first kind of big directing job. He got his first big script approved, and now he's kind of figuring out how to translate it into a visual language that he's going to do, right? Which he got, like we all agree, he got much, much better at later on, and created some pretty great stuff.
I mean, Tigerland is underrated and amazing. Which ultimately, this being a Schumacher movie is why I wanted to talk about it, because it was directed by him. But if you think about his filmography, this is a weird outlier where he's done comedies of sorts like Flawless, but he's never done an outright madcap sort of thing aside from this. And I think there's a reason his filmmaking sensibilities doesn't suit this. And I think that kind of shows through shot choice, coverage choice that have been brought up, but also just in the imbalance of tone. Every scene wants to be funny, but every scene wants to be a different kind of funny. And just because you're a comedy doesn't mean different kinds of funny can stack on top of each other.
Yeah.
Right.
You can do real witty, fun, verbal stuff like with Bill Maher. You can do real wacky physical gags. This is doing them both often in the same scene. And that kind of causes confusion over trying to figure out what things meant to be funny, what things meant to advance whatever plot we're currently following, what things meant to advance character development, what very little there is, and stuff like that. I have a question for you guys. The first time you saw this movie, did you have any idea where the political kidnapping came from or where it was going? Because it threw me for a loop.
I was surprised by it, but I just figured, Washington, D.C., somebody had an idea that, we're in D.C., let's do something political. But I really check out in the last 20 minutes where I was trying to pay attention, but it was really hard at that point.
It's the weakest part of the movie is the ending, which is unfortunate because that's what people will be remembering. And there are these little gems of promise or interest happening throughout that. But then this whole section happens, and I'm like, it's easy to tune out because it's not as compelling. Even if nothing else before it made sense, there was something weirdly compelling about it. Like, is it Tyrone who takes Albert to the airport and just goes off on him?
Oh, yeah.
That's actually a really, dialogue issues aside.
Takes his wig off and all that.
Yeah, that's actually a really, dramatic, interesting moment in the midst of all this comedic chaos. And we abandon all of that interest for this thing. It's so strange. And yet this was the highest grossing comedy in Poland?
Yes. Won an award for best comedy in Turkey.
That's who he made it for, right?
It's,
are they smoking over there?
Some things are universal, man. Some things are universal.
It's like Jerry Lewis is a genius in France.
The French love him, yeah.
Like I was saying, this is still of that type of goofy last of that madcap movies before the 80s would
Jerry
kick in.
Lewis proved he could be funny and suave. That's the whole point of the original Nutty Professor. There was something to it. Here, what does the audience latch on to aside from maybe a line they laughed at or a visual gag that was funny?
I think it's the visuals. I think more than anything, the goofy sort of one of my things about this movie, the minute I remember being in the theater and thinking this when I was a kid. At the the first shot is a shot at ground level as a cab rolls over the camera lens, right? And we see, they could see the drive shaft spinning, and there's yarn or wire wrapped around it, right, is moving. And then by the time we get to the end of this fucked up, busted ass cab, we can see it's not whatever car we're looking at, it's not in great shape. And then we see like there's a light hanging down just on a bare wire. And then finally the cab itself, and we're in this kind of alleyway, and then suddenly he's being chased and there's all this stuff going on. And I remember thinking as a kid, like, this is going to be really good. And it just it went into the toilet after that. It was just bam, like it just got worse and worse and worse. And I do remember as a kid, by the end of it, just going, this is crazy. Like, this is one of these things where it reminded me of Animal House, where by the end of it, we've pushed the guy out of the way. We've got the baton and we're leading the fucking marching band into the alleyway. We're at the dead end, right? Like, where it makes no fucking sense. But Animal House did it. It was funnier, but it makes no sense. The other thing I'll say is that it reminds me of Mon Oncle with Monsieur Hulot, in that also is people just screaming at each other. It's that comedy where it's funnier if we just scream at each other. Let's spend 20 minutes screaming these lines at each other and it'll be funny, right? No, it's not funny. It's just people screaming at each other.
That's fair. That's fair. To be fair to DC Cab, there are two kinds of bad movies. The bad movies you never want to watch again.
True.
The bad movies you want to make fun of with other people.
This is one of those, yeah.
This is definitely one of those.
For sure.
You're going to put it on. You're going to get a group of friends, and you're just going to laugh at the movie, not with the movie. Right. You can still have a good time.
Yes.
And I think that's why it has a weird cult following.
It's got a weird rewatchability if you like if you're a person that likes watching cinematic train wrecks, this is for you. This is right up your alley. Like, if you're like, no, I love that. I love when it doesn't fire and it's kind of weird and awkward and it goes kind of crazy and off the rails.
Yep.
1941 is a perfect example, like Marty mentioned at the very beginning. If you like that kind of madcap sort of holy shit, this movie went everywhere, you're going to dig DC Cab. It's right up your alley.
I don't know if this is a controversial statement, but I like DC Cab more than 1941.
Yeah.
I think it has a firmer grasp of the environment in which the madcap comedy is happening, even if it still doesn't make sense or the characters are very flat, minus two people. 1941 can't even figure out
that shit is insane.
Despite the year, the title being a year, it can't figure out when it's happening. Does that make sense?
It's too long. It can't. There's so many things wrong with that movie. It's not even funny.
Yeah, but this is 100 minutes long, and even though it's confusing and you tune in the last 20 minutes, again, it's hard to be bored until those last 20 minutes.
Right.
No, there's always something weird going on. There's always something funny going on, or something. Marsha Warfield, I'm pretty sure she sings one of the songs in this movie. I think she sings the opening.
The soundtrack was more successful than the movie.
That was really the soundtrack.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, no, the soundtrack's really good, especially for that time and stuff. Like most of the songs hold up pretty well, especially with how they're used in the film.
Yeah, it wasn't like we were listening to Go Tootsie Go from Tootsie. Or Something's Telling Me It Might Be You from Tootsie.
Oh, that was a hit too.
Hated.
If I say I don't remember any of those songs, I haven't seen Tootsie in 1,000 years. What does that mean?
We did it for the podcast, so that's why we remember.
Did that movie age well at all?
To Marty, no. To me, it was fine. It still had some problems, but he struggled.
I thought it was boring. Was the problem? I was just like, it's not. At one time, it seemed clever, and now I'm just kind of like, this seems like a sitcom episode. But
well, I think I think because the norms of society have come so far with that movie that it's just like some of the things that are supposed to be outrageous or funny just are like, I guess they're just kind of whatever. But anyway.
For this movie, I just have a couple more things. This is a good companion piece to Repo Man.
Ooh, yes.
It's about the same year because he's learning how to, repossess the cars, and he's driving around learning how to. Can I ride with you today in the cab? And come out about the same time. So I thought that was kind of.
That's what DC Cab is missing, is some fucking Harry Dean Stanton
and aliens.
Yeah.
It felt
Oh,
like
we'll get that in the next movie.
It felt like a slightly slicker Trauma movie in a way, DC Cab. And when you look at the movie Schumacher made before, and then you look at the movie he made after, it's crazy to see the growth. Before this was The Incredible Shrinking Woman, another kind of goofy movie like DC Cab in a way. But after DC Cab, St. Elmo's Fire. He's completely shifted gears and found the 80s. He's in his decade, in his element now, and then he's off to the races.
Yes, that was Lily Tomlin, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, man, I do remember that movie. It's been a minute.
Been a long time, yeah.
Going back to Repo Man, have you guys seen some of Alex Cox's more recent stuff? Tombstone Rashomon and stuff like that?
Why, yes, I have.
As a matter of fact,
wild.
Yes.
Funny that you mentioned that. One of our very, very, very good friends plays Doc Holliday in that movie.
I reviewed that movie for Film Threat.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. Eric Schumacher is our good buddy and producer, and he plays. And in fact, one of our leads in our last two films plays
Bradford's hiding in there too.
Clanton's. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, we'll have to bring that movie on the show at some point.
They have another film getting ready to come out. Alex has got another film getting ready to come out that Eric is in.
So awesome.
Yeah.
Pretty sure that can be revealed at this point because they finished shooting it.
Yeah. I don't know the name of it or anything, or I'd tell you that.
And there was one more kind of incoherent movie this reminded me of. You probably never heard of it. It's called Comic Book Diaries. It was our second movie. Completely incoherent, and I feel like there might have been some DC Cab influence mixed in.
That's a good call. That's a good call. That's fucking hilarious. So $8 million to make DC Cab. It made 16. So worldwide made 16. So, he did 10 for Incredible Shrinking Woman, and it made 20. So he's a director that, at least in Hollywood, is making profitable movies, right? That's why he's working back then. Because back then, you make a shit movie, you go to director jail, and I heard from him for 45 years. But but yeah, you're right. And then he moves into, like you said, St. Elmo's Fire, Lost Boys, and Flatliners, and he's off and fucking running.
He's found his style at that point, his aesthetic, as the kids say nowadays.
Well, what do you give it?
What's the scale?
So out of 5.
Out of 5? Entertainment value is pretty high, even though you're often laughing at it and not with it, and it's a comedy.
Yeah.
I would say, as an actual movie, as just how it's constructed, written, and all that good jazz, it's a 2 out of 5. But if we're looking at it as how much entertainment am I getting from watching it, it's probably a 3.5 out of 5, especially if you are, again, watching it with people, you're riffing it, you're making up better lines than what they're saying, or you're like ad-libbing lines that they should have said after somebody said something else to just kind of punch it up a little bit. This movie probably needed just a little tighter editing and a little more punch up with the script, and they could have at least been actually funny all the time. Still weird and nonsensical, but like actually funny all the time, as opposed to like on occasion that really clever thing happened, and then it's a few jokes that are like, I don't know if that landed.
So 3.5 or 2?
We'll split the difference and say 3 altogether.
3, okay.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going 2.
All right.
It's just a little shaky and a little creaky, coming off the back of what is, for me, one of the worst films as a kid I ever saw, which is The Incredible Shrinking Woman. It was on fucking HBO all the time for some reason. But no, like I said, he gets better and better and better. You can see him figuring it out in this movie. But it's still like, its script is rough. Gary Busey's a fucking menace in this thing. The guy who plays Tyrone just screams at everybody throughout the entire picture. Apparently he was a comedian in Brooklyn, up and coming comedian. So I guess his acting choice tool was to scream most of his lines at people and be angry.
That makes a lot of sense.
But overall, though, there's some funny stuff in there. I agree with you. It's one of those movies, though, like, it's, I've said this to Marty before, nostalgia wise, 4 stars. It's 83. It's so fucking 80s. It's not even funny. And there's a good like you said, you can make fun of it, but as a movie, I'm not going to I can't in good conscience recommend this to somebody. like I can't say, oh, you should totally watch DC Cab.
I would recommend it at a bad movie party. I wouldn't recommend it just to watch it.
It's the same with Hamburger, the motion picture, right? I would never tell you that in like, oh, that's right up there with, Godfather. But if you want a bad movie watch, Hamburger the Motion Picture will wrap you in a wonderful blanket and put you to sleep. It's wonderful. It's
you do know as soon as we're done here, I'm going to go watch that movie, right?
Forget about Hot Dog the movie because that's existing.
Yeah, Hot Dog the movie's not bad either, but that Hamburger the Motion Picture is. What do you got? What do you give it, Marty?
Well, eventually Irene Cara did get paid royalties for her songs in this. It was a big legal battle. And then I noticed somebody else who was in Fame was in this movie too. Weird crossover. And, that Shrinking movie was on HBO a lot, and so was this. But I always missed this. I've never seen this movie before like 2 days ago.
Really?
Yeah, I thought I had.
What?
But turns out I had never seen it.
I could have sworn we watched this with Dr. Detroit back in the day.
Oh.
No?
No memory at all, man.
Wow.
You voluntarily watched Dr. Detroit.
This guy right here.
I'm so sorry.
With songs by Cutting Crew and Haircut 100. Absolutely.
I'm so sorry.
It's this level. I mean, they're right there, in my opinion.
There's no nostalgia
for me. I haven't seen it in a while. So,
yeah,
sorry, what was it?
There's no nostalgia for me. So I still think it's an interesting, enjoyable train wreck, but I give it 1 because it's bad, but it's still interesting though, right? It's got a lot of things going wrong with it, but there's still something where you're like, what? This is fascinating. I can't stop watching it, kind of.
That's why I can't give it a 1 because it's fascinating. You can't stop watching it. Like it's still doing something right because I want to keep watching it. So a 1's just. A 1's for like the Transformers of the world, where I'm like, who you, Michael Bay? Don't care. F off. This is bad, but it's like bad in such a unique, interesting way. So I can't go 1.
Yeah.
Or just personally.
I understand.
I get it. You're not wrong.
Have we had any other films that were RKO pictures on the fucking show before? I can't even think.
No, I don't think we've done anything.
I mean, either they're super, because RKO is usually super old or super rare at this point by the 80s. Like,
yeah.
Anyway, all right. Well, that brings us to
Charlie Band production. It's funny because you had brought us the Stuart Gordon film, and then he worked with Charlie and Richard and made Reanimator, and so now
that
we're coming together in here.
Unintentional.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's kind of fun. So what is this movie that reminded me a lot of Laser Blast? And it turned out Laser Blast was part of its history in a way. What is the Primevals or
Primevals? The Primevals? I'm going to say Primevals. I'm going to say
Big
the Primevals.
Big Yeti gets loose or something. But then it would have sounded too goofy if they would have called it that.
The Primevals, 2023, not rated, 1 hour, 31 minutes. Here's your logline. When a group of explorers go in search of a Yeti, they find themselves taken captive by an ancient race of alien creatures.
As you do.
Your storyline. It happens. The abominable snowman, the Yeti. Oh my God, this is a long one, guys. Strap in. For centuries, his presence has been a speculation, but now his existence may be a reality. High in the Himalayas, a specimen has been found and he's been sent back to the United States for research. Leading the investigation is noted anthropologist Dr. Claire Collier, who has been studying the controversy of the Yeti for years. The autopsy reveals that the extraordinary creature, whose ancestors date back perhaps millions of years, underwent some sort of cranial surgery prior to its death. How is the mystery to be solved? Well, an exposition is the only way to find the answers. Collier teams up with Matt Connor, her former student and famous writer, Rondo Montana, an ex-big game hunter, and Kathleen Rydell, one of Collier's former students and the guide for the journey. After several days of travel, the team is surprised by an avalanche. The ground caves in, dropping them into an ice cavern hundreds of feet beneath the ice. The 4 explorers find a way out of the cavern and surprisingly into a warm and lush isolated valley inhabited by unusual Primevals species. An occasional heat-emanating metal dome can be seen emerging from the soil. The aberration in the environment is obviously the work of some highly intelligent life form, which the researchers dare to find. Their suspicions are justified when the team find a remote cave and a hydroelectric system hidden inside, as well as the remains of an abandoned spaceship. The explorers are captured by the strange beings, half reptile, half man, brought about by years of mutation, and the creatures have deadly plans for the humans unless they can find a way out. There you go. Wow, that was long. Thank you, Gory Freddy, for writing that.
It was very in-depth.
But yeah, that's basically the movie. It's like Journey to the Center of the Earth meets every early Ray Harryhausen Hercules movie you've ever seen.
And it says its origins are as old as some of those.
Yeah. I mean, I'll say this about the movie first off. One of my first thoughts was it's a masterclass in practical effects and practical film shooting techniques. It's a fucking masterclass. If you want to watch a movie that really maximizes its practical effects and really figures out how to use rear projection, front projection screening, all these different techniques that it's using to sell what it's doing, this is the movie for you to watch. It's really, really well made. It's really, really well made in that regard. Other than that, it's some of the corniest shit I've seen in a while. It was fucking hilarious. I love it.
It's supposed to be, because it was a movie they were trying to make for like 50 years or something, and the guy passed in 99 who had done a lot of the work. And I mean, Clif, this is a Mo Henry movie. Well, partially, the negative cutter because of how old the film is. It's just kind of crazy.
It makes sense. I mean, it feels lost in the 60s and the 70s. It feels like I said, like Journey to the Center of the Earth meets Land of the Lost.
Land of the Lost.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, Little Planet of the Apes. Yeah.
Little Planet of the Apes in there, it also just keeps giving you a twist. Every 20 minutes, you're like, well, okay, it's this. No, it's this. No, it's this. Mm-hmm. I mean, we go from Yetis to, by the end of it, we've got fucking mind-altering laser rays run by half lizard people. It's
more coherent than DC.
Wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's way more coherent.
It's got crazier shit going on. It makes more sense.
I question none of the internal logic of this film at all the way I did DC Capper. I'm like, wait a minute, Adam Baldwin has $6,000 fucking dollars. How in the fuck? This movie, I'm like, sure, lasers that make Yetis fucking crazy. Like, I'm all in. So it makes complete sense to me.
So Adam Baldwin would finance a trip to go find the Yeti with the 6th strand, right?
I want him to do that today. I would watch that movie.
Mm-hmm.
But it's got to be Adam Baldwin. I don't want him as a character. I want Adam Baldwin to do it.
Yes. No, totally. Yeah. I don't want the character, Bobby or whoever the fuck from BDC Cap. I want Adam Baldwin to do it. Absolutely.
Correct.
Holy shit.
Part of what makes this movie so interesting is it is a 50-year passion project that co-writer, director David Allen had been working on.
It makes complete
forever.
Sense. Yeah.
And he kept getting the funds, and he would use all the money on these effects, and they would dry up. And then he would get more funds, use it all up, and then so on and so forth, to where a good bulk of this movie is pure 90s nostalgia of Full Moon.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a huge Full Moon fan, obviously. So this was just a blast from the past, like going to the rental store, picking up the silliest, cheesiest movie cover you could find and watching it and knowing Charles Band had something to do with it was always a delight. And this reminded me of when I really got excited by new Full Moon films. Because lately I feel like they've been leaning into the intentional schlock more. I don't mean that in a good way.
No, but there's a difference though. Like there is definitely like
there's no irony. Sometimes when
exactly. It's sometimes there's an earnestness to it, right? That sells the film, whereas you can feel the other when it's not there.
Correct.
In my opinion.
Yes.
Like where you're just like, oh, it's not earnest. It's not trying to do its best and be with the best it can be. It's just trying to make money and trying to get me to watch it. Right. I don't know how else to put it. Anyway, sorry to interrupt you.
No. That's what this whole thing is. It's a movie debate. If we're not interrupting each other, I don't know if we're doing it right.
It's true. It's true. But I agree with you. I know what you mean by the difference, though.
Yeah, it's just like, is the acting the best? Not usually, although, what's her name? Juliet Mills as Dr. Claire, I thought did a really good job for the most part for the kind of movie this is. Like very sincere and interesting later in the film. I think she sells some of the mind-blowing scientific discoveries really in that's a human reaction to this sort of stuff that I liked a lot. But what's his name is Matt. Let's see, Richard Joseph Paul. He's not bad. He's handsome enough. He's got skills.
I think he's perfect. Like to me, he's perfect. He's that perfect like Harrison Ford adventure type guy. He looks like an adventure action figure that you would put in the mud and and do whatever with. You know what I mean? He just looks like he looks to me, he sells the part very, very well, but also in a kind of a campy, perfectly Primevals B movie sort of way.
He's got that
right?
Yes,
I thought it fit so perfectly. I really thought it fit.
Just enough acting to make it all work, but
exactly,
no one's going to say he wins awards. You know what I mean?
No.
That's where I'm going with
I agree with you.
But he makes you buy into this crazy world that we're introduced to, where these Yetis exist, then these aliens exist, and then these aliens stem from this, and then that happened, and then lasers that make Yetis go crazy. like everybody kind of sells it. That the consistency of that over the decades it took to make is very interesting. I don't know how to describe that, or describe that in a way that makes sense to anybody but my own brain.
It's why, I mean, the movie's got the listener, if you don't know, the movie's got a wild history of taking a long time to finish, and the director and the writer dying and this type of thing. And it's wild what they ended up completing, though, because to me it's like, I don't know if were you guys fans of like the Journeys of the Hercules type of Harryhausen type films? Did you enjoy those? Like I'm born in 73, see Star Wars in 77, 78. And for me at 4 and 5, that's my standard for any kind of sci-fi or journey. So for me, when I see Harryhausen on the UHF stations, I'm like, this is fucking garbage. Get this out of my face.
Oh,
because it doesn't hold up to that special effects
you
level
like
of Star Wars.
Titans, though, right?
I did like Clash of the Titans because it sold, and because they used it sparingly in a way that I felt sold, right? But a lot of the Hercules stuff was so badly done that I get it as a kid. It's like the Godzilla monsters. If you like the rubber suit monsters, you're really, that type of thing, you'll dig it. You'll hate the new Godzilla because it's fucking CGI, right? Where's my rubber suit monster?
Makes sense. I see what you're saying, but
this is so much better than that stuff.
We're very different here, where I'm a very casual Star Wars fan. It's fine. It's okay. Some of the movies are good. Some of the movies completely suck. Whatever. To be fair to the movies themselves, part of what turns me off is a lot of the more vocal fans.
Yeah.
Drives me insane. So I kind of stay out of that. Whereas the Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, the Eye of the Tiger, 20 million years from Earth. It came from beneath. Oh my God, the giant octopus one.
Sea. All right, so that was called.
Yeah, it came from beneath the sea. Thank you. I grew up on all Harryhausen. Original King Kong,
Original King Kong was great, really well done.
Yeah. Original Mighty Joe Young, remake of Mighty Joe Young. These like schlock special effects B movies are what I was raised on, and I love them to death. So getting more of that in a setting where even if everything else is so cheesy, they took their time to get those effects so
Yeah, it was done
impressively
so
right,
Mhm.
so interesting, so detailed.
Mhm.
Like a lot of those alien reptile things, they are obviously all the same creatures, but they're not just duplicates of the same being. Does that make sense? They're not identical. They all look slightly different somehow,
Mhm. Mhm.
which is awesome. The way the Yeti moves is really
Especially in the beginning, that they seem to
Mhm.
spend a lot of time on that first 10 minutes of the Yeti, because they sell it, and then you don't get any more effect for a while. It takes 20
yeah,
or 30, 40 minutes, and then it starts to come in with
correct.
more and more effects, and so on. And then by the time you're surrounded by all of them in the giant arena, you're like, okay, it's a little bit, the quality's just dropped just a touch, but it's still really selling. It's
Some
still
of the
really
smoothest
working.
stuff,
Yes.
It's some of the smoothest stop motion I've ever seen. I
It-
mean, ever, and that's why I'm comparing it to the old Harryhausen stuff and going, if the old Harryhausen stuff had looked like this, I'd have been all about it.
Makes
I'd
sense.
have been all about it, because this really, really worked. It was really, really fucking well done, especially that Yeti at the beginning. They made the Yeti like the Yeti gets the laser's brain thing, kills the hominid or whatever ape creature, and then comes to and has this look of sadness on its face and it looks at its hands that are bloody, and you could see it has regret. And you're just like, damn, that's pretty fucking good for stop motion, man.
David Allen ran out of money for a reason, and that's because, like Phil Tippett's extraordinary Mad God, the dude knew exactly what he wanted, and it just took a long time and more money than God to get it. But all that money's on screen. You
Yeah.
put this movie on,
For sure.
you're not going to question why it took so long or where that money went. You might question
Totally.
some of the acting. You might question some of the very basic plotting. This is a very
not what it's about.
straightforward movie, which is probably the biggest criticism somebody could level at it, is that it's just point A, point B, point C, end. That's it. There are very few surprises. There are things they discover about the Yeti and about other things, but everything still flows in a way where, oh, that makes total sense, as you were saying before. But it watching these beings that David Allen thought of, be it the Yeti, be it the reptile beings, move, is awe-inspiring, especially in a day and age where AI is running rapid, making CGI look ever more gross, where CGI is being overused even before AI to just make everything look rubbery and fake. To get a movie come out only, 2 years ago? Is that right? That where everything feels alive and practical and moves with a weight is so rewarding in and of itself. And then you happen to get a decent amount of characters, a decent amount of those creatures in action, and just a lot of sincerity and fun is something I wish more films would latch on to. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you. It's a wild movie to have been. I mean, I guess its principal photography shot in 96, 95, somewhere in there.
Yeah, I think 95,
94,
going into
95.
96 or something like that.
Slated to be released in 96. So it's wild to see, like, Juliette Mills is so much younger. It's got that feel. It feels like a little bit of Jurassic Park to it. Like, it's got a bit of that, like, I don't know, Indiana Jones adventure type feel to it. Fascinating movie all the way around. The more I dug into it, the more I liked it. Yeah.
In a movie,
Yeah.
Its purpose is to have this amazing stop motion more than an Oscar-winning story. That's not what the point was, I thought.
I agree, and I would argue it should have been up for best visual effects at the Oscars. But the Oscars all suck, and we know that.
Yeah,
so.
and I mean, they barely had money to finish this thing, let alone campaign for it. I'm sure.
Yeah,
Wouldn't that have been
yeah.
something? Full Moon Pictures wins an Oscar. It's
I
about
would-
time.
I would watch the Oscars again. Let me tell you.
Seriously. You want to get your audience back? Come on. We're telling you what you need to do.
Yeah, you don't have a best voice acting category. You don't have a best stunt category. Don't have a best ensemble acting category. Don't have a best non-theatrical release category. Like, they're so behind the times. It hurts. I don't understand it.
Non-theatrical release category is a really good idea.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. Also a really good idea.
I think I've been dominating this conversation. Sorry, guys. But
No, you're
this movie really, like...
I could tell it resonates with you.
Yeah, there's a reason it was one of the options I gave to you.
It's one of the reasons we like bringing people on the show and having them bring a movie, because one of two things happens. Either we fucking everybody loves it and we're like, yeah, this is great, and the person brings us like, yeah, you liked my movie, or it's or Marty and I go, no, and the other person's like, but wait, it's really great because, and we go, no, I'm sorry, no. So it's nice. It's nice to be able to go, yeah, actually, I really fucking enjoyed this. I did like the stop motion in I think the stop motion that I really like is when there was a lot of production value behind it. And this thing had a fuckload of production value. You could tell they cleaned up everything with it. It looked awesome. Again, you know, when you're getting facial and emotional responses from the Yeti, from the stop motion stuff, you're doing a pretty damn good job. It was really well done.
Good score too.
Yeah.
The
score.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, man. It's like that fucking John Williams ass fucking Disney Adventureland ass fucking score. It was amazing. I was like, I kept going thinking, like, who did this? Where is this score? This movie has no right to have the score like this.
Yeah,
it's a Charles Band movie, so only one person can do the score. His own brother. Richard Band, who does a lot of scores for Full Moon films. And even if those movies are bad, usually his scores are really good. Right. He didn't really just phone it in. Yeah.
I love how the Yeti is the killer, and by the end of the movie, it's the victim, and we feel bad for it. And we're like, somebody's got to save that fucking Yeti. Like, what's going to happen to the Yeti? Like, we feel bad for that Yeti.
It is interesting how they toy with that, because like in the very beginning of the film, it's this wonderful little prologue with the ancient ones, the Yetis attacking this Tibetan ? Is that it?
I was like, Native American, far Eastern. Where are we? I don't know.
Nepalese,
somewhere in the snow. Somewhere in a mountainous area. I don't know.
That have a Sherpa.
Maybe.
Thing. And it's a wonderful scene. It's very exciting. But like the Yeti's just the bad guy that entire time. And then as the film progresses, there are these little hints that maybe the Yeti's not all that bad. And then we get to the hominids, whose makeup effects, because they're not stop motion, these are people in actual humans in makeup effects, are pretty decent. They're not to the same level as the stop motion, but they're not shabby either.
No, they're selling. That sells.
Yeah. There was like, oh, this is just taking, like, what I mentioned before, like Full Moon, we're talking like Puppet Master and Dark Angel, the Ascent, and things like that, or even Empire earlier for Mandroid and whatnot, where they were doing these sort of almost epic movies on very low budgets, and like still made you feel that epic sense of what was going on. And this does that.
No, very much so. Yeah.
Whereas Giantess All Battle Attack is just women who are 50 feet tall attacking each other for 70 minutes. That's all that movie is.
This movie did a great job of feeling much bigger than it is. Like it felt like a big movie. Like it had a lot of locations. Like it had a lot of effects. It felt like a big budget. Like whatever, like you said, every dollar that they had definitely hit the screen, right?
Yeah.
From giant panning shots that they were using to, that's that great raft shot of them floating down the river, and I'm thinking, okay, now it's Adventureland at Disneyland, right? It's all these great moments in the film. And then eventually they're saved by the Yeti, who also gave them top of the line coolers and mugs as parting gifts and sent them
Obviously.
home. That's what Yetis do now.
Marty, even to look what I am curious for you, was this a return to that sort of Ray Harryhausen stuff, or what?
Oh yeah, that was totally
Yeah.
that was fun. Yeah, I enjoyed all that. That's like what I mentioned earlier, was some of the smoothest stop motion stuff I'd ever seen. And I started watching the movie and thinking, oh yeah, that Yeti looks really good. And then about halfway through, I'm thinking, is this that movie that took them 50 years or so to make? And then sure enough, it was. And so I was like, oh, perfect. But yeah, I got a kick out of it. Almost get emotional. And you realize, how is this movie making me emotional? This is ridiculous. But the way it's made, like Clif's saying, like they give the Yeti emotions and stuff. It makes you wonder if the original intent was for everything to be stop motion, the hominids, and maybe they just decided to just dress people up because they had to finish, or maybe that was always the intent to do like a half and half thing. I don't really know all of that, but
I wish I had an answer, but I don't know. But
I have to look into it more, I guess.
This entire thing being stop motion would be mind-blowing.
Well, the whole thing, yeah, you got to have some live people in there, but I figured anything where it was like a costume thing, maybe they were intending to be like the most mind-bending stop motion epic ever, which it probably ended up being. And people don't know about it, so check it out. It's on Tubi, I think, right now. Is it on Tubi or is it on Amazon Prime?
Tubi. I watched it again so it was fresh in my mind for this at 4:30 in the morning today.
Oh, that's a good time for it.
I woke up at 2 and couldn't get back to sleep. So I was like, I need to watch this anyway, so let's go.
Right. That was me with DC Cab yesterday.
I'll also point out to the viewer, when we talk about stop motion in particular, I think what we're talking about is where it's used as an effect within a movie, right? Like there's Wallace and Gromit is stop motion, right? But it's a complete, everything is stop motion. Everything is its own world created.
Like claymation,
but that's still stop motion, right?
Yeah.
But it's moving the image, moving something one thing at a time, taking a picture, creating that. But what this does is use it and then interact with the physical world, right? To make it seem like this is something that exists. Much like Clash of the Titans, much like these other films. And I think that's where, like, because you go, well, it's the best stop motion ever. I agree, but it's that in particular stop motion, right? Like, there's other stop motions that are really great. You could argue that, but this in particular, where you have it interacting with the actors in the movie,
and there's hair and stuff that doesn't move crazy like in some of it.
Exactly. So fucking well done. So well done.
Like a Rankin Bass.
Yeah. All right, what do you give it, Mr. Bobby?
If we're still doing the 5-point scale, a 9. No, it's a 5 out of 5. It's got minor issues, just from being a full moon movie of the 90s, where it's like maybe it's not the best acting, but it's all very adequate. And as Marty was saying, that's not the point of the film. The point is all this other stuff. And this other stuff is so well crafted, so exciting, and so awe-inspiring that it's tragic what happened to David Allen, and very, very sad that he couldn't finish this movie. But it's so great that the people who knew him have figured out a way to keep his legacy alive and get this out. It's on Tubi, it's on Blu-ray. You can buy it physically if you want. And so to get the chance to just have this exist is thrilling in and of itself. But outside of that backstory, you get a really awesome, epic movie that knows exactly what it is and isn't trying to do anything to not sure how to phrase it. It's not trying to do anything that would interrupt that sense of we are here for the effects. this plot point just needs us to the new effects. That plot point gets us to the new effects, and so on and so forth. And those effects are so worth your time. There are technically 3 versions you can watch if you backed the Kickstarter for this. It came in a box set. I think you can also buy it on Full Moon if they didn't sell out. Full Moon Direct. And it's got the version you'll see in Tubi and if wherever else it might be streaming. It's got a sort of a workman's print, kind of a David Allen director's cut version where there's like storyboards intercut that had to be reworked or scrapped because he wasn't here, and they had to refigure things to make the movie, to finish the movie. And then there's a third version, an earlier version, that was more of a work print thing. And all 3 are really interesting because you can see the evolution of the story changing. It's not drastic changes, but you can see the story changing a little bit. The characterization is changing a little bit, but you can also see all that love and care going into it. And to see an independent creator put that much time and effort into something and then see his filmmaking friends and family put that much time into trying to keep it alive, for a movie that just delivers on all fronts it's a 5 out of 5, easy. I love it.
Right on. Marty, what about you?
I mean, I would obviously go higher if I was just rating it just on the stop motion. I'd be right at the 5, but I'm going to go 3 because, the story and everything is just, but of course, like I said, that's not what you're coming to this for. If you're coming to this for what it is, you're going to enjoy the 5 on it. But then, balancing it against everything else, I'll come in right around the middle there. But yeah, I wouldn't go any lower than that because it's just too much of a spectacle to, you couldn't call this 2.5. That would almost be like dismissive.
I'm in the middle. I think, I agree with you. There's some Full Moon, it's a Full Moon picture. So there's a few things story wise and acting wise and so on and so forth. But I think in general, it's better than the whole sum of its parts, right? Like for the few things that are lacking, when you put it all together, it makes this great thing, right? Where I didn't mind watching it. I'm probably honestly going to watch it again. And rewatchability is a big factor for me. Best stop motion I've ever fucking seen. Got that great kind of, again, it's just got this weird, goofy journey to the center of the earth, Indiana Jones type of fucking thing going on with it. You get the archaeologist, you get the fucking book nerd together, a little bit of Mummy in there, maybe a little bit, to where I just thought, fuck, this is, I don't mind this at all. I think this is actually, and really well done. And then we get to the end and it's just like the last 30 minutes are just fucking flooded with stop motion effects. Like, because they really give you the Yeti at the beginning, and then boom, you're off to like cryptozoology language world for 15 minutes. And then another 20 before you find the fucking the journey to the center of the earth and you find the new place. And then suddenly it's aliens and it's lizards and all this and fucking, it's great. I really, really enjoyed it. So 4 stars is what I'm going to go with.
All right. Awesome.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Bobby, thanks for coming on, man, and bringing a really fucking interesting movie, man. I really
thank you for having me and let me talk about both DC Cab, which is so weird. It's so weird that like if anybody listening to this likes bad movies or movies that are just hard to describe, DC Cab for you.
It's a spectacle, man.
Yeah, again, until the last 20 minutes, you won't be bored. There's always something weird happening. And then, Primevals is just, I love the history. I love that they tried to keep it alive. I love that it exists in any form. And I just think on what it tells you it is from the beginning, it delivers on all those fronts. It's just, I'm an adventure movie with stop motion, and that stop motion is so great that the plot, the acting, who cares? And again, I think some of the acting is actually quite good. Juliet Mills in particular, that like I will be on here talking about it. I will talk about it so many tomorrow if I get the chance. Like, I want people to see this movie, and I really want Full Moon to return to this style of filmmaking.
I think they do a lot better if they did. Because this is made, again, whole some of its part, better than the sum of its parts. There is an earnestness to this movie. There is an honesty to the movie. There is a quality to the movie that you just do not get from a lot of Full Moon pictures, in my opinion. Right? I don't know what it is. It raises itself to a different level, and I'd like to see more.
I would argue there was a point in time, it's probably the entire 90s, where Full Moon was attempting to do that sort of thing.
Yeah, it was a little
not always successfully, not always good, but they were at least taking themselves seriously. And now they are sort of in on the joke, whereas something like Trauma
that's
in on their own joke. Trauma,
that's the key.
Lloyd Kaufman never took himself seriously, always was wink at everything they ever made. Whereas Full Moon fell into that because I wish I had a reason, but I don't. Because
it made money and things like that. I figure, you're just trying to compete with those Sharknado type things, being goofier.
Yeah, but at least the Sharknado movies, they're called Sharknado. The last one is literally called The Last Sharknado: It's About Time. Those movies know what they are from the jump.
Well, that's true. Yeah. I should say more like the Atlantic Rims that they do, where it's like, oof,
yes. Yeah, that's I could do a whole podcast about the Asylum films.
I'm going to take DC Cab and I'm going to chop off the last 20 minutes. I'm going to splice the last 20 minutes of the Primevals on there. And we're going to get a real interesting mashup.
When that happens, let me know. I will totally watch that movie.
I'd watch the fuck out of it. Are you kidding me?
More sense, actually.
I'd totally watch the shit out. I'd watch that big time.
So do you got anything you want to plug today?
Yeah, you guys already mentioned I can be found reviewing films for Film Threat, and then also check out the podcast Reels of Justice. I am not on that, but that is my favorite podcast in the world. That is why I'm on this podcast. That's how I know you guys.
Nice. Those guys are hilarious.
It is literally movie court. Lawyer. One saying it's a bad movie, one saying it's a good movie. Judge, jury. It's brilliant. I love all those guys on there. I love being on there when I get the chance to go on there. So I'm going to plug something on their behalf.
Perfect. Well, Bobby, thanks so much for coming on the show, man. We really appreciate it. You guys want to get out of here on a quote?
Don't miss an episode. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts, and keep listening to the show on the app of your choice. Do it now.